All right, well, welcome to Firepunk Fridays. We wanted to give you guys a little rundown of the Pro Mod and where we're at on that today, and kind of catch up on where we're at in the diesel world here middle of October. And I've got a fly that's driving me nuts. That'll be fun. But we just came back from Georgia, ran down to Reese Brothers to check on the Pro Mod. We were all there. This fly, I'm going to kill it. But went down to Georgia this Monday and spent the afternoon there with the Reese Brothers and got Larson fitted in the driver's seat. So we're pretty excited to talk about that. But wanted to talk a little bit about where we're at in the diesel world right now. There's a lot of chitter chatter coming about, wintertime always hits and everybody starts talking about rules and regulations and what's going to change for next year. There's some talk about NHRDA bringing a full schedule back next year. I know I don't think they've released an official schedule yet, but it looks like there's going to be some races for out west with a world finals in Texas. Next year is the goal, and there have some talks about teaming up with ODSS to where maybe some of the ODSS top racers can compete at world finals to kind of have an East Coast versus West Coast final. So that's all in just talks, nothing official, but it is kind of exciting to see some of that, give some of those West Coast racers a place to go racing again and see what kind of team we can come up. I don't know what recent projects that we finished out. We did Hunter Coffees last week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I told Levon when we sat down, I kind of feel a little bit out of it. I kind of had my mind on farming the last couple of weeks, doing combine project, and but then, I got Hunters out of the shop last week, and that wrapped up to be a pretty cool project. Definitely took that extra, that last week that you never quite planned for, buttoning everything up and just finishing up small details and getting the tuning right, and spending a couple days on the dyno always takes a good bit of time. But
well, we were happy to get we got 2100 horsepower out of that truck, a truck with a tailpipe on it. The twin setup still gave us some challenges on that because the drive pressure was not quite doing what we expected it to do with that big Garrett on the manifold. So we are still going to make some changes to the manifold charger. Sooner or later, we need to machine the exhaust housing to get it to fit. But Cody and I are planning to hop on a little plane and fly out to Diesel Truck Wars this weekend and help support the Coffees. They're racing it for the first time there, and they're pretty new to it, and he really wanted us there, so he had a buddy with a little airplane. He's got a 4-seater LeBaron. He's going to pick us up tonight and fly us out there, so we'll be at Diesel Truck Wars tomorrow. Hopefully we can get that truck going down the track. I know he was wanting to run 670, get his feet wet, but if he can run the Outlaw class and feel comfortable with it, we might turn the nitrous on him, make him get his feet wet a little bit.
Yeah, no, I'll be curious to see. I kind of wish I'd be going along from the standpoint of, seems like Truck Wars is a pretty cool race, kind of a little bit different format from what we're used to. Seems like a really cool track out there, so that'll be a fun event for you guys to check out, and hopefully a lot of racers turn out there.
Yeah, should be a good time. Yeah. So I know we've got PRI on the horizons as well. PRI is December 8th through the 10th. And we're also doing the ODSS Awards Banquet that Friday night, or is it Thursday night? I can't remember.
It's Friday night, I'm pretty sure.
At the Wyndham out there. So if any of you guys are part of the Outlaw Diesel Super Series, we hope to see you guys at PRI and at the Awards Banquet. It's always a great time to get together as racers and have slideshows and videos, kind of go over the whole season, to recap and talk about next year and what's exciting. So we're looking forward to it for sure.
It's always kind of a fun, middle of the winter, get together with your race friends and see everybody kind of recap thing. But definitely a little bit of a, not the best season ever with cancellations and stuff, but, looking to rebound, and it's kind of a place to get the schedule set for next year and everybody get together and kind of start the hype train for next year, I guess.
PRI always gets excitement rolling because there's anything and everything there at the PRI show, and you quickly have a wish list that gets really long when you go there. But let's talk a little bit about where we're at on the Pro Mod and what our goals are. I know it kind of excited me. We decided to do this build in January, and the goal was to have it ready to debut at Rudy's this fall. And we've had just kind of one delay after another. A couple things with the guy who's wanting to buy the S10 is wanting to keep the Bosch Motorsport system that's in the S10. We were going to pull that out and put it in the new car to save some time. So now that we're building a new system for the car, it's slowing the process down a little bit, and the whole build the chassis altogether, there were some delays that Reese Brothers had this summer. The things didn't always go exactly as planned, and we know all about that. Having a fab shop here, we know how it goes. So it was exciting to go down there, watch those guys work. They've got a really good crew of people down there that understand racing, very hardcore race team that understands how to put a race car together. And we're hoping that we can come out of the box and have a race car that's going to, go faster than the S10 ever did. But we've got a lot of new systems on the car, along with transmission changes and a different ECU. We're going with a Bosch 25 Sport ECU as opposed to the older 15.1 that was on the S10. That's just stuff that's superseded with Bosch. So there's going to be a learning curve, and we're just hoping that we can get through those early learning steps and be successful quickly.
Yeah, I mean probably the biggest thing for us to learn is going to be the 5-speed, the Liberty stuff. That's going to change a good bit of stuff with the dump valves, just the way everything spools. Gear ratios are going to be different. Probably going to end up changing converter stall some. So hopefully we can have enough tools with us to be able to make some of those changes when we go testing. Seems it's going to take one little hiccup for us to have a testing weekend cut short.
Right.
So we're still hoping to get some good testing done this winter. I don't know, we were hoping to have the car at PRI as well, and now it looks like that's probably not going to happen. So currently the car is in, I don't know what you'd call it, kind of finished body fitting mode. I don't know, a lot of little.
They have about 1 week left until it's ready to go to powder coat. And then, so basically the body is just temporarily mounted right now. All the mounts are there, but it's not final bonded to the body.
Just fastened with Zeus fasteners right now.
So once they finish all the little details, like Monday when we were there, we were figuring out where the parachute mounts go, where the steering wheel goes, where it fits the driver, doing water injection mounts, all the nitrous, all the
fuel filter, oil filter. Yeah.
All those little things, making sure that we gave clear communication on what all needs to be mounted. Then they're going to finishing up all these little details, the little body panels, doing the aero package in the back with the carbon fiber around the tubs, and then they're going to pull the body off, send the chassis to powder coat. The chassis is going to get powder coated. That'll be a 1 week process. Then it comes back from powder coat. The body gets final mounted, and then we can pull the engine out and bring the engine to D&J to make some of the changes that we're going to make for the valve cover and valve. We decided to go to a feed tube injector again so that we can save some clearance on our cowl, because Larson's looking through a windshield about this big right now with the rail and everything on top. So we'll be able to lower the cowl about 1.5 inches and give him some more windshield clearance. And then
it's just overall the design of the car just has a really short, kind of really hard angled windshield. So it's already kind of a narrow little slot. But with it sitting in the car, really doesn't look that terrible. The back end of it isn't super high, but as the hood slopes down, it sticks out a good little bit. So it'll be a decent sized bubble cowl.
Right.
But
we just cut the cowl out temporarily around the engine, and then they've got a carbon fiber cowl that they're going to mold to that front clip to make it all fit and finish all together. But once the chassis is going to go to powder coat for 1 week, and then it comes back, gets final mounted, and when we pull the engine out, then the body will go to paint. And they're expecting 6 to 8 weeks at paint, because they have to do all they make it nice and make all the body panels and everything fit correctly. Some of the carbon fiber panels are so thin, it's like almost paper thin, so they have to touch up some of those areas for just in the mold. Wasn't just perfect, and that's pretty common with some of these carbon fiber bodies, but it is crazy how light the doors are, the body. I mean, I think the whole carbon body with doors weighs 60 pounds, and our 2 doors on the S10 weighs 60 pounds for comparison. So it's definitely a whole different ball game, but we are looking forward to it. That's going to get us the car back from paint in the time frame, like around Christmas time. So we're hoping to have the engine ready to go by the time the car's back from paint. And then, so first of the year, we'll get the car, get the engine in. We can do final fit and plumbing, and then hopefully by end of January, 1st of February, be ready to do some down south testing.
Yeah, I'm going to have to get wired, so that's kind of another little bit of a, don't exactly for sure know how long that's going to take, but hopefully not too long.
Yeah, we're having Modern Racing is teaming up with Exergy to do the wiring system, so Exergy Engineering is doing all the layout, providing the 25 Sport, the PBX 90, the DDU 10, and then it's going to go, once it's done with paint and the engine, everything's in it, I'll drag the car over to Modern, and they'll have the car for 3 or 4 days and do all the layout, and then we can bring the car out back and finish all the plumbing, and Modern says 2 to 3 weeks to get the harness finished up, and then they can send the harness in, we can install it, and be ready to put smoke in the pipe.
No, it was really cool. Like, I mean, never felt quite real until I went to, we got to go down there and see everything, but just, I mean, when we got there Monday noon, I walked in and I was like, this is just kind of a little bit of a pile of pipes here. Like, It doesn't look like a whole lot of anything, but it was really cool to see how quick. I mean, they had pre-fab, a lot of the stuff that they put together then on Monday had been fabbed already, but man, watching that thing, like, the body go on and the engine go in, and like quickly it started looking like a car by the time we left that day. Like,
in 5 hours, it changed a lot.
Mm-hmm. And then just watching them do some of their stuff, you can tell that they've built a lot of race cars. Like, cutting into a carbon fiber hood is nothing. Like, you just go make some marks in the dust with your finger, and then you use that for your cut lines. And we would have been all, this is an expensive carbon fiber cow. We got to make sure it's just right. And but then, he also is pretty comfortable in molding in new carbon fiber panels and cowls and stuff. So
it was good to see their processes and how they work, because we run a fab shop here and we try to have the highest of quality, and then you go watch David work, because he's been doing this for 25 years and he's got a measuring tape in his eye. He can hold up a pipe and know that it's 15.5 inches within an eighth of an inch, and it's pretty funny. His guys say don't bet against David on what the measurement is, because
his guys definitely were familiar with his accuracy of eyeing things, because there's a couple, 2 or 3 times one of his guys kind of, was wrong. And David was like, don't even let him get the tape measure out. He'll just prove himself right. So, no, it's kind of funny.
But it was good. I mean, I get excited talking to David, because he understands starting line ratio, weight bias, and, he had the small block car that they built and went 351 at 215 mile an hour. With 3,300 horsepower, that was 2,450 pounds, I think, race weight. We're going to be a little heavier than that. The target is try to get it at 2,500 or less without the driver. Obviously, get the car together and then we'll see what it weighs. But he's telling me with like a blower car. I'm talking to him about a power ramp. How soon can I be at, if I have a 3,200 horsepower diesel, if I start at 1,600 horsepower, how soon into the run can I be at full power? And he thinks if the chassis is doing its job, we should be able to be full power by 1 second in. And that's like unheard of in the S10, because we're like 2.6 to 2.8 seconds in to be at 3,200 horsepower. So that could be really exciting. I mean, I think if we can get the thing full power by 1 second in and have a chassis that takes it, it's going to go fast. But David he's never raced a diesel before, and the power curves are different. But really, if you think about a race car, you have horsepower, you have leverage to the tire, you have weight bias, weight transfer. I mean, all those, the same physics apply the same whether you're burning diesel or whether you're burning gas. We just have less RPM to work with, which makes us have a taller rear gear. And that's why he really wanted us to run a 5-speed Liberty, so we could adjust first gear ratio down if we needed to get the leverage on the tire. And then he said, we'll just shift it up through the gears to keep our RPMs from having such a big drop. and that's something that we've had really good luck with the Rossler 3-speed, but then we have a lot bigger RPM drops, and so it's going to be a learning curve with the 5-speed, but it does show, mathematically, it shows potential to be a advantage with being able to get our starting line ratio better, closer to what a normal Pro Mod would be, but time will tell. Ask us in March, we'll have a lot better idea.
Hopefully, yeah. That, should be fun. So have we settled on a color?
Well, that's a good question.
We're gonna not tell people what color
I don't know. I don't think we should tell people what color it's going to be, because until it comes out of the paint shop, or until I drop it off at the paint shop, I might change my mind 3 times. But I do have a couple colors that I have in mind. You'll just have to wait and see what that is, and hopefully we make a good choice.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. We'll see.
There's a lot of different renderings that we've put out. I don't think any of them look bad. But man, it is a hard decision. Like, most of my vehicles are either white, black, or gray, and I always like colored vehicles and nice paint jobs, but when it comes down to me choosing a color, I really like my whites and blacks and grays. I don't know why. So I really kind of think, being this is an old school muscle car, I want it to be fast and I want it to be loud. So I think it's going to get a color, but we will have to wait and see what that is.
Yeah. One of the things we were working through a little bit when we were down there was the intake and the exhaust setup.
Yeah. That's
going to be a little bit different. We had discussed this a number of times before, whether it was with the guys from Mensker, or I don't know, we've discussed it with a number of people as far as downforce coming out of a side pipe.
Exhaust pipe.
Right. Yeah. And he's pretty firmly of the belief that a side pipe is definitely going to create some forces to drive the car around. So we're going to try to get that exhaust up and closer to center of the hood. So it'll be a little bit of a different look, I guess, but right. Kind of excited about, a little bit different there. And we'll kind of keep the exhaust up, right beside the engine, right in front of the windshield. So
yeah, so pretty much you're going to have the intake coming down on a 45-degree angle to the turbo, and then the exhaust is going to go up right behind it. So it'll be right on the side of the cowl.
The intake will also, it'll be like cut into the hood, like a teardrop or whatever. So yeah, I don't know. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's good. I like it. David has a good vision of what he wants it to do, and he said he's going to be mad if it doesn't go fast. So I think I am too. But we got good high hopes for it. But I know as much as anybody that it's not fast until it actually goes fast. And it's never as easy as you think it is. So I'm just hoping with the weight savings and having the Reese brothers on our team to help with the chassis stuff, it can help us look at data. I think overall, I hope we can learn a lot from it, because us in the diesel world, we've learned a lot. We've advanced as far as we can, but the more we can tap into that 25 years of racing knowledge and transfer it over into the diesel world, I feel like that's going to be valuable in itself.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's going to definitely be a learning experience, but like you said, we can learn a lot from them. So,
well, is there anything else that we need to go over? What are other builds we've moved on to? Working on the Camaro. That's the Duramax Camaro. We're hoping to get it started here in the next couple weeks. It's been just a lot of long, small custom parts that we've had waits for, and now we finally have most of the stuff in-house.
We're finally kind of coming down to just us digging into it and getting into the wiring side of things. That can kind of look like a little bit of a mountain sometimes, because you don't know. I mean, you can't mount anything where it's supposed to go. Like, we bought a painless wiring harness to do all the lighting and, the regular controls on the car, and that's all designed to go on the driver's side, but because of the firewall being moved, that kind of takes that spot away, so you have to relocate it. And then it has some stuff in it, for gas car engine stuff, so you've got to kind of weed out what you don't need, and it just kind of seems like it's one thing after another to figure out a bit. But this week, we've got Zig and Cody and Mitch working together on knocking a bunch of stuff out on that, so we have an appointment at the upholstery shop with that in November. So the goal is to have the thing running before then. So between that and getting the transmission controller in it and getting the whole drivetrain done. So finally feel like we have like a good plan, like to get this thing completed. So once it comes back from upholstery, it'll have to get completely torn back down, and then it'll go to the paint shop so that we can paint the chassis and the firewall area.
Just finishing touches.
Yeah.
Yep.
Still have to mount the hood. That's going to be a little bit interesting because we decided to put our side pipes out right where the factory hinges would go.
Yep.
So it'll probably end up with like a reverse mount a hood on it. So yeah, just fun custom things to figure out. But then, I mean, I've got guys calling me every day, asking about 850 cages and that kind of stuff. And kind of the unfortunate thing of that is we're pretty much booked up for the winter with, I've got a handful of cages on the schedule, got some twin turbos on the schedule. Then with finishing up the Camaro, Hunter Coffee, Wayne Coffee, yeah. They've got Justin Ziegler's old quad cab, and that is going to be a UCC truck again next year. So that's a pretty big project. We've got a 25/6 cage to put in it, Rossler with an SCS transfer case.
It's getting a Bosch.
That truck's also going to a Bosch. That in itself is a pretty big project. And then we've got Garrett Nissa's truck in here.
Yep.
That one's going to be a lot of fun. I know we've talked about it before, but we're finally in the process of starting on that. Got the frame chopped off and cleaned up. Going to do a back half on it. But that truck will be a show truck and a dyno truck, I guess, right, is the goal there.
It's going to have two. It's got fabricated front and rear 9-inch axles. It'll have like a dolled up frame. It's going to be show truck that he can smack down a big number. I'll have two 14s on it, 400% overs, and a big Weimer compound setup on it. I mean, it should be 3,000 horsepower capable, really. But really, if we can make 2,400 horsepower, I think he'll be happy. He wants something that he can go out, set and show and shine. It was his first truck, so it's something that's special to him. But he wants to be able to put it on the dyno and smack down a big number in the process. So he's not really planning on drag racing it, but it's going to have a lot of really, really nice equipment, right, and it's going to be very clean and a lot of hidden wires, hidden tubes. It should be a showstopper.
Going to try to really clean up the engine bay, hide as much stuff in as we can. There was even talk of trying to move the master cylinder like inside under the dash if we at all can. Just try to keep as little stuff in the engine bay as possible and kind of really feature the engine and the turbo setup. Believe it'll probably end up with a tubular header as well. Just really want a lot of wow factor when we open that hood. So lots of hours of fabrication to go in that truck yet. So those are the two really big projects we have to focus on this winter. Right. Amongst the other stuff that we have scheduled. So.
And we still have Mitch doing all of our production welding, Mitch or Zig. So like all of our bolt-on traction bar kits and control arms and all those parts and pieces that we sell through Fab, we're trying to keep those stuff in stock and on the shelf. That way that we can still sell that stuff. A lot of the big projects, if you got a project you're wanting us to do, the sooner you get on the schedule, the sooner we can get it on. I think we're pretty much through winter, March, April area until we can schedule something in.
I'm pretty much at this point, if it's a sizable project, I'm telling guys it's going to be after UCC because I know how the UCC crunch goes, and we also have a super stock truck to work on at some point once we get parts for that. So lots of work on our plate in the Fab side, and
well, hopefully I've been talking to a couple guys. Potentially to hire more guys in the Fab shop, but obviously try not to grow this too fast because we got to do quality control to make sure the guys that do come in and join our team know what we're doing. That way any customers come in, they don't have to ever worry about quality being an issue. But there are a lot of good guys out there. Appreciate all the resumes that guys have sent in. So hopefully by wintertime, we can add another guy or two, and by spring, we can have more capacity for more projects, because I hate to tell guys no, but I also don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. I'd rather have it be the other ways, underpromise and overdeliver.
Yep, so that's kind of where we're at right now, but definitely a lot going on, and we've kind of slacked off on this because of that, but hopefully we can make it a little bit more regular. Sometimes we struggle a little bit to make time for it all and to have good content, I guess. But
Right. Well, hopefully, you guys are excited as we are to see the new Pro Mod come out. We hope to see some of you guys at PRI, and maybe I'll see some of you guys tomorrow at in North Carolina at Northeast Dragway. That should be a good event, and hopefully you guys, we'll catch you guys next week.